Hello, and welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Boland, and I'm a congenital amputee of the right hand. In this show, I will interview other amputees and allow them to tell you their incredible life stories. I'll also feature family members of amputees and others who support the amputee community, all in an effort to discuss the challenges and triumphs of those living with limb loss. So stick around and listen to inspirational stories and find out why we say, we're not stumped. Well, hello everyone. I'm Mike Boland. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. Today I got Abram Baker on the program, and Abram's got quite a story. It's something we've been going back and talking for quite a while here, and I'm just going to introduce him. And Abram, we always start the We're Not Stumped podcast with an in your own words. So if you don't mind, we'd certainly like to hear your story.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you were persistent, and I'm not used to doing these podcasts. But as I've said before, I had probably about a 15-year stretch where I did public speaking and whatnot. And my life is really busy and really crazy because I still work.
Well, that's excellent. And I know that
they've been really.
I'm sorry, I lost you a little bit there. I apologize if I was talking over you. I know that through your work, you did have an industrial accident that resulted in losing your left hand, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and here I am with the congenital right. So yes.
Yeah, man, I wish mine was congenital.
Yeah.
This thing, they're fixing to try to do a surgery that is more of a experiment. The way I take it, It's not a lot of people that does it, but I have. So I've started my career. I got kicked out of the house when I was 17. I did whatever I had to do to, eat, ends meet, and whatnot. And I started construction. I met some guys, met my wife. We've been married for 30 years. And
that's awesome.
31 years.
Excellent.
Yeah, not a lot of that out there.
No.
So through her, I met some guys, and they did ironworking and welding and everything. And I wanted to be a welder from the first time I did it, which was a freshman in high school in ag class. They actually gave us a project to do, and I'm the only one to get 100 on the score. So
oh, wow.
I was like, I'm gonna mess with that in the future. And I started ironworking, started stick welding. I don't know if anybody hears this lingo, they'll know what's going on. It's stick welding is a real structural type welding.
Yeah.
It's real strength, a lot of strength to it. And but it's a tough job. You're out in the elements, but I was young and I could do anything I thought. I'm paying for it now. Really.
Didn't we all think that? I get it.
Yeah. So I just started my career, and then I eased into the fabrication side of it. And then I learned how to TIG weld, and to me and everybody else, it's a TIG welder. It's the best kind of welding. And I did that for years. I love TIG welding. I really do like it. But it's just when you do it over and over and over and over every day, nonstop, you kind of like, well, I got to spice this up. I still get to do welding, but I get to do other things too. And now we got so many kids that are welders. We just let them do it. But yeah, I still do weld. Matter of fact, the first thing I did, and I put it on my Instagram, was I slid. I had a sock on there that was different than this. I slid. It hurt everywhere. But I slid a stainless little wire They wanted to know if I could weld, and I was able to do it. And it's different because it's like a signature. Everybody has their way of feeding that filler weld in. But so I was happy that I could do that again. It was more visual than I could feel. But I also got to work on all kinds of other stuff, and I love mechanics. I ain't even gonna show it, but I got trucks and Jeep. We're big. I'm a gearhead.
Yeah. So you have really awesome older vehicles, and that's something we share because I have I have one older vehicle myself, and some of your projects are fantastic.
Yeah. I needed to get my 49 Plymouth out.
Oh yes.
My other house.
Okay.
But I haven't had a chance to get it up here, but
okay. Well, I got to ask this question. It has nothing to do with this podcast, but hopefully somebody can appreciate it. So it must have a flathead 6, probably like a 251. Is it 3 in a tree or is it a Fluidmatic?
3 on the tree.
Okay. I have a Fluidmatic Chrysler, 51 Chrysler. So I know a lot about those engines. I've owned my vehicle for 40 years, and I'm the only one who's done mechanical on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I love it. I definitely want to see some pictures of yours, but go ahead. I want to hear more from you.
Man, the welding and whatnot took me into, like I said, we've got trucks that'll pull like this.
Nice.
We did this F-250 project.
Yeah.
We did the paint on it. It's like a bed liner, but
nice.
There's a bed liner in it, but it's matte white.
Very nice.
And if we haul something, it's old. It's 2,000 miles. It's got the 7.3 power stroke.
Very nice.
Those are like legendary engines. But I've had a bunch. I had a dealership at one time.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, about 2-3 years, and that was tough.
Well, I'll tell you a couple things that you have now that I think is really neat. You have your own brand. It's called. Go ahead. You can say what it's called and give a little explanation of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's the Blue Collar brand.
Yeah.
It's something that I did after the amputation, and I don't even know why, but the first emblem of the logo ended up being
the wounded.
It had wings on it. The very first rendering, and it had an Irish knot in the middle that meant faith, love, devotion, and something else. And that I still got the first T-shirt.
Very nice.
And that was Blue Collar brand. And I was like, that don't really go together. I didn't have any idea that I would further take those wings and put Wounded Wing in there. It was amazing when I started thinking about doing it. I immediately took to that original for the
nonprofit.
Nonprofit, yes.
Yeah. Well, what was? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you because it's really it's the Wounded Wing.
I talk too much, probably.
No, not you don't talk too much at all. I love hearing from you. I just like you were going through your amputation, as you said, and a lot of the recovery. At what point, and what was the motivation? What was the inspiration for starting the Wounded Wing Foundation?
Angie Coe. When I first started that website, Instagram, excuse me, it was called These Hands. It was and I was just sharing my story, and I didn't know if anybody even cared. There's a lot of people that don't these days because they're shallow. And that's fine if they want to be shallow. They can just be over there. But Angie was devastated, and it was about 3 months after mine. So what motivated me I've always been a determined, very determined, very independent, very driven. Um, I have a strong work ethic that I passed to my children.
Mm-hmm.
That one's 26, one's 22. My son, you know, we got a house that we we could be all the way over there, and he could be way up over there. We have privacy and whatnot, but he he holds this whole place down and does almost all of the computer work and the paperwork, and it's a lot to keep up with, honestly. Um, so Angie Coe reached out to me just off a hashtag, Amputee.
Yeah.
And, I was, what made me get up and go is I watched Charge. I don't know if you've ever seen that. You see Charge before?
I have not.
Eduardo, he's the chef, real famous chef, lives in Montana.
Okay.
Can't believe you've never heard of that, man. Dang. Anyway, no, well, let's do it. Let's do it all. He's a famous chef, and he lives in Montana, and he was out hunting. And Montana's beautiful. And he was out, I believe he was deer hunting. I can't remember. Somebody told us to watch this. This is immediately after I come home from the hospital, within a week or so. He was out hunting. He come up on a baby bear that was just in this round thing, like a barrel, and this baby bear was sitting in there, and he reached down to get it and got shocked with 2,400 bolts.
Wow.
And it blew one of his arms off, and electricity comes out any way it wants.
Wow.
So it came out all over him, and he somehow picked himself up and walked all the way home.
Wow.
Amazing story.
That is.
And then the story gets even more interesting as he gets cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he just kept pushing, and maybe I hope to meet him someday. I have a woman coming from Arm Dynamics, where I go, and she's going to be here the 26th. She's going to be interviewing me. I'm kind of stepping back out in public, and getting back used to public speaking. But he motivated me to get back up and move forward. And my injury here was nothing compared to his. And you really need to watch this.
You said it was Charged? I want to make sure.
Series on Netflix called Charged.
Okay. I will link to it in the description, and I will watch it. I thank you. I appreciate that. I had a gentleman. Not only did I have Angie Coe, I had Angie Coe on my first season on the We're Not Stumped podcast. I had a gentleman named John Higby that I have now gotten to know because he's a local gentleman here, and he also lost both of his hands in an electrical accident. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is, and I wasn't going to sit around and feel sorry for myself when I seen what this guy went through. And I had to dig real deep, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. But I went back to work 5 weeks later.
Wow.
I had 14 months before I had to consider going back to work.
Wow.
14 months I had, and I did in 5 weeks.
Wow.
And I didn't know, what I knew was I wasn't going to let it get me down. And I knew that I'm just a regular guy. You got to make money to pay the bills and stuff. So I knew I needed to keep doing that. and I learned to work on things with just my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it was blue collar, Brian.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sketched that up myself.
Were you
So
left-handed? Were you left-handed or right-handed before the accident? Right-handed. Okay.
Thank God. Hey, I can't imagine. I've met people at Arm Dynamics that have had both of their arms blown off. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine what they have to go through? And that picks me up and what makes me want to push more. But with any accidental, I got caught in a screw auger. I was told to work on a screw auger, and I've walked by the screw auger every day for the past 3 years, almost 3 years. And I can't remember what happened, but I was on a 12-foot ladder, and I'm 6'2", and I was way up. They got stuff way up in the ceiling there, and I was told to listen for this screw auger. They were getting metal pieces in the sifter, because we got all kinds of different ways to keep a good standard of quality, and all I can think of is that you've had a ladder walk on you before, kind of goes sideways, I don't know if you've been on any ladders, like a ladder, or I made a misstep and instinctively reached forward. I don't know. I was kind of crammed up for it. I can't see it, man. And my doctor, Mike Dolan, he's the best. He's the best in the nation, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. And it's a big plug to him. He, he really did good, and he's always been right there, no matter what. I mean, I could text him right now, and he would hit me right back.
Wow, that's. I got to be honest, in some of the conversations I have on the podcast, that's very good, because it's not very common, it seems like, at times. So that's a great story.
Yeah, I met my lawyer working on Workmans Comp case. He's with me for the duration, no matter how long it takes, because his mom got injured at work bad, and that's why he went into the practice, because there's so many people get screwed out of everything. Everybody's out to, people are not getting what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she got cheated, and he says, I'm fixing. He goes into law, passes bars, dude's a genius. We hit it off just like we were buddies, like we've known each other. You've met people.
Yeah.
He's become a very good friend. I can text him right now, too.
That's awesome.
They're both busy guys like me, but it really is awesome, because we're more friends than we are. I mean, we have to discuss certain things, and everything's a fight. And they probably don't want to hear what I'm going to say about it, but I tell the truth about it, and they fight you no matter what, all the way. I mean, look at this.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's an anarchy. The last tattoo I had on this arm said damage. Dope. Made my flames come around, try to do the best. I got a big scar here.
That's good.
Scar under there. But I'm not faking this.
No. If you are amazing. You're definitely not faking that.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to take take advantage of any system.
No.
If I'm just trying to help people now. I helped Angie, and I seen her kind of blossom, despite the fact that she was able to go to Portland. She's been to Germany, and I get this, I started getting this nonprofit together, and we're not out, we're not public yet. We wasn't even done yet, but she's amazing. She's my secretary, actually.
Yeah. And you said it's not quite live yet, but it's right around the corner.
It's live now. I'm talking about, you're talking behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
I've always stayed in contact with her.
Yeah.
But it felt so good to just be able to support her mentally. You go any amputation is horrible. I don't give a crap what people think. Now, to me, the hands are definitely more complex than the legs, but they're all bad.
Yes.
Nobody wants to do anything.
I agree.
So, yeah, she's the reason why I started this. I had to have her aboard on this.
Well, now that I think about it, she's the one who gave me your name as someone that be definitely worth having on the podcast. And Angie, if you're listening, I can't thank you enough. And she said something I really, it's always stuck with me. And I've actually brought it up on a couple different episodes. She said, amputees are badass people. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I couldn't have articulated it any better. And here I'm talking to another one right now in you. And I'd like to hear what you're trying to do, what you're going to do is probably a better way to say it, with your nonprofit. I'm pretty excited about that for you.
Yeah, it takes a lot of money you've got a nonprofit yourself. It takes money and grants and donations and stuff like that. And, it's hard to get sometimes. Like, you have to have somebody that's experienced in getting grants to develop, even for mine anyway, business plan.
Yes.
A big business, professionally done.
You're
and
right.
It's impressive. And, it's not, this thing's not about money, but if you don't have money to help people, you have to have money to help people sometimes. Now, emotionally and mentally, that you can't put a price on it. But to get people new prosthetics that work for them,
yes,
improve their life,
yes,
I can talk to anybody and be of support. So could Angie. It's just the way it is now. We know it's a crazy thing. I have pain, constant pain. What I've had is all the nerves. You got a big nerve that comes down there and goes to your hand, and you smashed your finger before, probably.
Yeah.
They're quite delicate. Yeah. So we're going to be I'm going to be getting it's not experimental. It's a thing that is newly developed. But right now what has happened is, so I was 45 when this happened. And for 45 years, my brain was talking to my hand just like I'm doing this. I don't even know it.
Yeah.
So it had been communicating, and then it happened, and it didn't know what to do. So what they do while they have it open is they do put it down underneath the muscle and spread them out.
Oh, okay.
Away from each other. Well, that don't always work. So what's happened is they basically got scared and all of them lumped up right here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it burns like fire nonstop. It's like somebody got a lighter under your arm nonstop.
Wow.
I've had to. It's horrible, honestly. Behind the scenes, I don't know. Nobody really knows how it is.
Yeah.
I know you don't have pain, but you got a disability. Trying to put your pants on with one hand, if you don't have any prosthetics or anything, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
And everybody that meets me, and they'll say, I have people every day say, I don't know how you do it. And I was like, I tell you what, do. Next time you go to the bathroom, get your pants back up with it. Do not use the left hand, or if your left hand, don't use the right. And they'll come back to me and they'll be like, oh my God, that was a mess. And I was like, welcome to my world. So
yeah. I got something I tell people too is like, here's the big secret, especially if you have one hand. When you go to sit down at the restroom, make sure the toilet paper is on the good hand side. That's a pretty important thing to know. I love talking about that.
Yeah. My hours at work are like that. But yeah, it's it was shortly after I went back to work. I learned how to do things with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very, very complex machines. They're German Hessers.
Wow.
And they're 1982 models. So they were running day and night that whole time. And I loved the challenge of it, but there's a lot of stress that comes with those. There were 3, now they're gone. We've updated them with brand new stuff, so everything's a whole lot easier. But when I went into this, it was real hard. So I learned how to work with one hand on these Hessers and with no prosthetics. So again, they want me to go to Arm Dynamics. So my caseworker, she was young, about 24, 25. I found out she'd never flown before. They want to fly me to Dallas and back and meet with Arm Dynamics. All this in one day. And I shouldn't have done it, but I did. But she was scared to death. She didn't know how to fly or never flew before. And I told her just to sit in the middle and watch Netflix.
There you go.
Put earbuds in. I love flying. Yeah. I mean, I always tell my wife, I was like, do you know how exhilarating it would be if this thing was going down and you could crash? I mean, that's, and then they slide it in on a field somewhere and everybody lives. That would be pretty.
You know what? I'll take your word for it.
It just made it all worse. So
yeah.
She didn't really like that too much. But she's my wife and my kids. The guys I work with, they're always there to help me. Of course, so the first thing, I hate to be long-winded, but I got to tell the story. So I first go down there and I go with my caseworker. We fly down early in the morning. I got up about 4:30, went to Memphis. They had sent a car service. She met me at the airport, 2-hour layover. Flew down, met with Arm Dynamics. It took like 4 hours. And I already knew what I wanted. He said, what do you want? And I just want the task. They're like, well, people usually have to take this stuff home and look at it. And I said, I want the task with it. Let's go home. I ain't got to have 2 weeks to look at it. This is what I want to do. And that's how I am. And he's Rob Dotson. He's a great dude. Excellent. He makes it so worthwhile and tries to make it so comfortable that, like, the body powered thing I use every day that goes around the shoulder.
Yep. There's one right there.
Yeah. Actually, me and him came up with a way for it to be strapped right here. So
Nice.
it don't hurt so much here and it don't pull on the shoulder so much.
Yeah.
Wow. We work together. It's like an old school style, but it's neon. It's like high vis because you got to wear high vis in the plant. And nobody can tell me I got high vis when I'm walking around. Like, that right there is high vis. Nobody does anything. But they've been good. So we flew down there, picked that, got a 4.5 hour layover.
Oh.
So I was up for 23.5 hours. And I'm not supposed to do that. I'm on, before any of this happened, I had bad anxiety. I'm actually bipolar. I didn't know that. I have to be drugged to sleep, basically. And it took a long time to find something that would make me go to sleep yet wake. And some other stuff like Seroquel and stuff like that. Felt like you waking up all day. I hated it. But we finally got that all tuned down. And then this thing happened. So I'm supposed to stay on this sleep schedule or really mess with you. And I wasn't on it. So I was on 23.5 hours and my body was going nuts because I had that much. I've always had adequate sleep. And, but we made it back. It was horrible, to say the least. But I picked it out. I got the Tasca. It's carbon fiber, and the Tasca is the most heavy duty hand that they have right now. I got it. I went back, got it. They fitted me up. My arm was big then because I used to lift weights and all that stuff, and I'm paying for that now too because we get bone spurs from picking up weights. Anyway, 9 days.
Wow.
My arm had shrank down where I had to go back almost immediately. 9 days. I trashed all the stuff just trying to work with it, and they got me. They figured out I was going to have more industrial type stuff. So, I mean, I have the Tasca, which I'm blessed to have. It's very expensive, but I can put it on, and now it's got 18 sensors.
Wow.
And it's got a thing called COAP.
Yeah.
And, so it'll run you through, right when you first put it on, it'll run you through these emotions, and you do it. So if I'm not looking at me not having a hand, you can't tell me I don't have one. That's the weird thing about it. Wow. But you do it the lightest you can do, and it reads that.
Wow.
And then it patterns it out. So there's not so much stress on you trying to move around and do it. So just since I've got that, it's pretty sweet. So I got one that's got the blue collar brand boy on it.
I think I saw a picture of that on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Very cool.
I need to show for that stuff.
Well, we'll try to integrate it into this video.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So the latest one I got was my arm had started building muscle back, and it's continuing to do so. So we are, constantly having to be fitted and whatnot. So everything changes, and it's not, it's not always fun, but Rob Dodson and the Arm Dynamics they make it as pleasurable as you can have it. And you meet people, you meet other amputees there that, like I said, works way. I feel like I ain't finding nothing to talk about compared to these other people. But anyway, I'm pretty much stable out on all that. If I want to go out, you can put that on, and it's quite the conversation. Especially, I live in Jackson, Tennessee. It's pretty country, really.
Yeah.
Wearing that into a restaurant or whatever, it's, you don't mind telling the story, but after a while, you kind of, we've had waitresses scoot in to the booth with us and talk about it. And we're like, we're out on a date tonight. You get out, but you can't do that. You don't want to be rude because you got a nonprofit and you want people to know about it. So anyway, you just play with it, and I'm gifted to be able to have the team all the way around. My wife, definitely, my son and daughter, all the guys at work, the guys in Dallas. I hope to meet you. I'm sorry it took so long for us to link up, but it's crazy. I don't have any time.
No, hey, I appreciate the time you've given, and I am very much looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah,
and we have a lot in common. I want to see that Dodge or Plymouth. I'm sorry, what did you say it was?
Which car? I got the 49 Plymouth.
Plymouth, okay. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
It's it's sweet.
That's cool.
I seen that car. I built a bunch of rat rods. I even got offered a TV show doing it, and they wanted to insert comedy and insert drama and insert this and that, and I was like,
so you're saying a reality show wasn't going to be reality? No, come on. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I hate those. I do not watch reality stuff. I don't like it.
Yep. That's the same way with me.
Yeah. I've built a bunch of them. I did a little things to that car, but it is just a flathead 6, all stock.
Yeah. Mine too.
Transforms, shifts like butter. It's got 63,000 miles on it.
Nice. And you still work on all your cars, right? I mean, you still work on everything right now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love working on cars and old motorcycles. I just love doing that stuff.
I'm the biggest gearhead ever.
That's awesome.
I love riding Harleys, and
very nice.
I built a bunch of those things.
Very nice.
Like the bobber style. I like it stripped down.
Yeah.
But now they got the recluse clutch, which I should get a plug for that. That makes a Harley where it shifts like a 4-wheeler. You've got on a 4-wheeler that just shifts. It goes on a Harley, and it doesn't take any of the power away from it. And you just, like, I could take my Tasca and just put it in the grip pattern and then just shift it like a 4-wheeler.
Wow, I gotta look that up. I haven't heard of that. That's pretty neat. Of course, somebody like me, on the right side, it's the throttle and the front brake that I always have to kind of mess with when it comes to motorcycles and ATVs and things like that. But I ride. I don't mind doing it. I like it.
Yeah, I love it.
So as we were talking earlier too, one of the things that struck me, this was early in the conversation. Oh, I'm sorry.
I've always loved off-road stuff.
Oh, neat. That's excellent.
No, go ahead. You asked.
But you were talking early on in the conversation. I believe it was called Charged, and I'm going to have a link to it. I can't wait to see it. But you were talking about watching that and how, to a certain extent, it kind of maybe made you reframe and how your mind was thinking at the time when you were going through some things early on. And I think right now with what you're doing, you're actually going to be that person yourself now. You're on this podcast. You're telling your story. You're starting a nonprofit. You're going to be the person that is going to be the face of the recovery and the other side and the positive things that can still happen to amputees. That's what I think.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's all we're looking to do. it takes word of mouth. It takes time.
Yeah.
It definitely takes. You have to have grants to operate. You have to have a certain. I mean, it's a 5013C.
Yeah.
Government tax free. So you've got to have your everything right and straight in line, and we do. But we have people right now working on getting these grants because it's tough, and I hope to get to where I think me and you I'd like to join up with you. And,
absolutely.
I think that would be cool.
Absolutely. That sounds great. And I've taken actually quite a bit of your time when we got on a little earlier.
Back out to California.
Oh yeah, when you come out, we got on a little early, and I bet we had about a 15-minute conversation. So we've been on about an hour now, and I want to be very respectful, cognizant of your time. What I'm going to do is I can't thank you enough for being on here. And if you want to come back on, talk about the progress of your nonprofit, talk about the progress of you. I'd love to have you back on. You have a very powerful story.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was the We're Not Stumped podcast, hosted by Mike Boland. If you want to be a guest on the program, reach out to Mike at his email address, mike@mikeboland.com. This podcast is produced by One Hand Man Productions. If you are looking to start your podcast, go to onehandmanproductions.com.